Alright, so we're going to be playing Tezuka in the first round of Chat Tournament 8. Tough matchup. Tezuka is very, very good, has been playing very well. He also beat me in the second Golden Boot, a game that haunts me to this day. I think I played a very good first move with the idea of punishing the expected reply, which he played, with a move that gave me a fantastic position. But then he found an excellent move on the fourth move of the game, completely stopped me in my tracks, and I made two really bad mistakes at that point. One was I was looking for a win and never stopped to make sure any specific move tied, so that if I ran low on time, I could just make that move. And that was, I think, my first big mistake. My second big mistake was I undervalued. I have a habit of this too. I have a habit of both these mistakes. Is I undervalued his ability to play off 5, to combo off 5. And I didn't keep cards that had high enough power facing that to be effective. So I noticed a few things here. We have opposite 8-6-5-3s. That's sort of interesting. I have last turn. Potentially I can play off that. It looks like he has the corners pretty well covered. I could play something like 8-7-3-4 in 7, but I don't have a way to I do have a way to recapture in both squares, but I don't like recapturing with the 8-6-3-6. For instance, if I played 8-7-3-4 in 4, and he played 5-3-8-6 in 7, and he played 5-3-8-6 in 4, and I recaptured with 8-6-3-6 in 8, he could potentially play 9, though I guess he doesn't have many options there. He is weak going to the right. I haven't checked directional weaknesses. I should have done that. We're a little discombobulated today. Looks like an 8 up, and then only 5s. Looks like to the left and right, an 8 and a 6 to the left, and then very weak. Quite strong going right, an 8 and 2 7s and a 5. Going down, very strong down. So really weak up left. Can we exploit this? Something like 8-6-5-3 and 1 seems potentially really good, though I don't have a good rejoinder, I don't think, to 4-7-8-2 and 2, just capturing it. Alright, back to what I was thinking about. 8-6-5-3 and 7. He only has one way to take... He has two ways to take it. I have recaptures. No, I don't like this. What am I thinking about? 8-7-3-4 was the one I was thinking about. But I don't love this either. Man, gotta recombobulate. I can play something like 8-7-3-4 and 9, but I don't think that directs the game how I want it. I have 3 8s up and then 2 weak numbers. The 8s up could be punishable if the game starts on the bottom row by the 5-8-7-2. Man, I am nowhere close to a move. This has been poorly spent time. I would like to use one of my redundant corners. Okay. If I started with 8-6-5-3 and 1, their only way to take from 4, I can combo back. I also don't... they do have some setups. They do have some setups. And the setups look strong, but maybe not that strong. But I don't want the game going to the right. I want the game going left. So their other weakness was up. Can we play against the up weakness? Man, their 5-3-8-6 ruins a lot of my ideas. Whole lot. Do I want to keep the paired card? Does my 8-6-5-3 play well later against their 5-3-8-6, or do I need to keep it out, get it out of my hand? I'm on first turn. I think I probably want to hold on to it. I want to go in 9, but it makes the game downright, but I just haven't... No move has emerged for me. Alright, I think I'm just going to play a very weak corner with a card I want to get out of my hand. Not really a move I thought too much about, but it is easy for me to recapture. I really like that 4785 can potentially recapture it from 6. Now, of course, they can combo that back multiple ways, so that's unlikely to matter. But I want as many cards of my cards as possible to be able to recapture it both ways, so I'm not locked into any specific card. Because I used a card for a redundant corner, I should still be pretty directionally balanced. And I'm hoping, you know, if 2 gets occupied, then 4, 7, 8, 5, and 1 could potentially be safe. And so there's kind of potential half safeties down the road. I also, I think, keep coverage of all his major corner plays. For instance, 5, 8, 7, 2, and 1, he can't recapture from 2. 8, 7, 6, 1, and 7, I have covered both ways with plus walls. So I'm hoping I have decent coverage. Don't love my starter. Not super enthused or anything, but it felt like I should be able to exploit the directions in his hand better, and I did not find a way to do so. If given a free hand to follow up, I'm not sure where I'd go, right? I don't have a good way to build out from my starter. It's not particularly threatening in the sense that if I cover one side, they have trouble taking the other side. They have a very easy time taking my starter. But I could imagine going... I could imagine some lines where I try to take advantage of their up weakness, or potential up weakness. Their biggest weakness was left. I am discombobulated. I keep losing what I've thought. But where at some point I go in 6, they go in 2, and I have 4, 7, 8, 5, and 1. That's probably the only kind of forcing path off my starter, which means I'm very likely to do something directly related to my starter. One thing I like is I could play at some point 8, 6, 5, 3, and 9, and that is now covered by 8, 6, 3, 6, as well as by 1, 6, 8, 7. So I do have potential pluses I can play off my card. Hopefully I just didn't give them a clear good move. And I did check that my card doesn't have the same numbers facing out that they have facing towards it, so it hopefully is hard for them to have a big setup off it. I attempted to start recording before the game started because there were a couple other open games happening, but as you may be able to tell, I don't have the most energy today, and that video is going very poorly. Tezuka always takes his time, which I think is a really smart thing to do. You know, sometimes he'll go quick at the end because he's seen it all, you know, a few times over on previous moves. But for the most part, he really makes sure to think through the position. Something Delial also does well. I prefer to play against people that speed play because it's my turn faster, but I think it is a smart thing to do. In a complex position, even if you have a move you want to make and you have 2 or 3 minutes left, as long as you remember that move, it can be worth taking time to just explore some weird line and then decide not to play it. But maybe you learned something about the position, or maybe you thought a bit about a move type you don't normally consider. And I don't think that's what he's doing particularly, but I think there are good ways to teach yourself to use more time if you want to. And I think that might sort of be what Delial does, for instance. It's not that he's like, I have a move, now I'm going to think for a few more minutes for the sake of thinking, but he just likes exploring all the ideas that come into his mind. And I don't blame him. He has good ideas. Alright, like Delial, he plays it down to the wire. Okay, we have a far corner. Okay, so I can take that, and he cannot take back. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. Neither of my takes can he immediately combo. So is the idea to go safely in 1 in reply? That looks like the idea. The thing is, if I take and he has a big setup move in 2, I kind of don't usually feel too bad because I can go safely in 1 and I will lock in a decent number of cards, though I should check that he doesn't. Sorry, yeah, a decent setup in 2, I said. Yep, that is the one to check. A bunch of the cards would need a 5 or a 7 down, which he doesn't have. Alright, he definitely can't set up too well against the 1-6-8-7. So against the 1-6-8-7, I think his idea is to go safely in 2. So maybe better is 4-7-8-5, because then he has fewer options of what he could put in 2. But 4-7-8-5, that 7 out facing, makes it hard for me to play the 1-6-8-7 and 2 later, because 5-3-8-6 gets the combo. Interesting. Interesting. So I do have 7s to the right from 1 covered with 8-6-5-3. So I want to make sure that doesn't walk into a combo, which it does if I have a 6 out facing from 4, but it doesn't if I have a 7 out facing. So 4-7-8-5 in 4 is my main candidate move. 5-5-8-4 and 2 actually might be really good there. That's interesting. That might be a very good setup there. Alright, alright. Eight, 6, 3, 6, and 9, I think, makes some sense. I sort of threaten to build out safety from 8, and if they go 8, I have captures in a whole bunch of squares, and I might keep cards that have more power for later better. 4, 7, 8, 5, 5, 5, 8, and 4, 5, 5, 8, 4, 2. I play 1, they play 5. Their 8, 7, 6, 1 plays so well in that endgame. Yeah, I don't think that can be good for me. And 1, 6, 8, 7. What was my problem there? What was my problem there? Don't remember what my problem was there. I can certainly run out of relevant power. Maybe they can just go 5, 5, 8, 4, and 1. I have very few setups. Yeah, I think I need to keep the game directions I have access to. I think my cards don't play well when the game goes left ways. So I think I probably do want to play a 9. I like setting up against 8. I do think 8's potentially annoying for them to recapture. Sorry, 7 is potentially annoying for them to recapture, but not that annoying. I don't know. If I play 9, the 8-6-3-6 is not that critical to keep in my hand, so I think I am comfortable using it and sort of just threatening to follow up in 8 with 8-6-5-3. We've wished each other luck quite a lot. Yeah. Not a game I am calculating super well, though of course when playing Tezuka or another top tier player, you are less likely to see as many lines to calculate cleanly because they do not give you clean paths. So I have a serious threat in 8. I also still threaten to go in 4. Because they still don't have a recapture in 8. So 4 is still a threat. Maybe not this turn, you know, it doesn't have to happen immediately. But 4 at some point could be useful for me. I've kept 4, 7, 8, 5, which I'm hoping directs well this game. And I'm hoping I still have a decent position and can apply some pressure against their next move. Try to put the question to them. I'm mostly hoping not to lose this one, I think. Very interesting move they played in 7. One of those moves you really do have to spend a bunch of time to make sure you're comfortable with, because you have to see quite deeply. Because if I take it, I just have it. And so you have to have confidence that the position after 4, 7, 8, 5, and 4, 5, 5, 8, 4, and 2 is good for him, which I think he was right about. I think that was good for him. And that the position after 1, 6, 8, 7, and 4, maybe 5, 5, 8, 4, and 1 is good for him, which is also difficult to verify. So maybe he did it by calculating really well. Maybe he just had a really good feeling that that gets all the rightward power out of my hand, and leftward power, and I definitely have a left weakness. And if you can exploit that, that I will never have enough power remaining to apply pressure, and I might lose. So I think all very smart, and not an easy move to see. Importantly, if they play a 8, 7, 6, 1 in 8 and I play in 6, they don't have a plus in 5. They do if they start with a 4, 7, 2, 8, and 8. And I take back with 1, 6, 8, 7 in 6. They do set up 5, 5, 8, 4, and 5, but then I imagine my 4, 7, 8, 5 plays so well because it has captures everywhere. And my 8, 6, 5, 3 is a plus in 4. So that seems unthreatening. What else is there? 3 corners in general are a bit hard to calculate because they have moves that could make sense in 1, in 5, in 2, in 4, in 6, or 8. You know, I think 6 and 8 are the most common. Here, more likely, they go 8, and I likely will reply in 4 or 6. But I did play a really nice game against Scythe recently where I played in 2 in that setup. But I played in 2 because my card in the equivalent of 3 here would be safe after that, and that is not the case here. So I would predict a move in 8, and I will expect to go in 4 or 6. Could certainly play in other squares. 1 and 5, very plausible. I didn't see big synergies for him to play off in 5, but that certainly doesn't mean they're not there. The thing is, 5 cannot set him up to have something in 6, so if he goes 5, I will likely just drop a card in 8. 8 seems a pretty good square. I shouldn't be refreshing so much, because he's probably not going to move before the 15-second mark, but I do refresh a lot when playing, especially when recording, because I can't go distract myself with something else, because I want to stay engaged in recording. Interesting game, really interesting move in 7. Tezuka is a player we should all have just enormous amounts of respect for his level of play. I'm a little worried 8653 can be a dead card for me. Maybe I should have looked at side starters. Maybe that would have been a better way to force the weakness. Because I had 8636 to cover 1 and 3, so maybe I should have dropped something in 2, because that could have tried to take advantage of his up weakness. Alright, he goes in 6. So the obvious move is 8653 and 8. Obvious because it makes sure I have 2 cards, and those 2 cards are hard for him to address, and I have a fair amount of power for the rest of the game. My lack of up is not really important. So if I go 8, 6, 5, 3, and 8, he has 3 cards he can block 5 with, because I do have the threat of a same in 5. That's a pretty significant threat. So that's going to be our main response. If he goes 5, 5, 8, 4, and 5, he's up 6, 4. If I go 1, 6, 8, 7, and 4, I take a 6, 4 lead, and he can only recapture one thing, and I will necessarily have a capture last turn. So that loses. What about 4, 7, 2, 8, and 5? I can combo that from 4 with 4, 7, 8, 5. I will then be up a lot, and he cannot come back there. Okay. And if he goes 8, 7, 6, 1, and 5, then I think I can play 1, 6, 8, 7, and 4, and that wins. Okay, so he has no ties in 5. That's the idea. Can he go in 4? If he does something in 4, I play in 5. I necessarily capture everything. Interestingly, he has a plus in 2 with 5, 5, 8, 4, but it never combos anything back because I'm only taking other cards by saming. So I will necessarily be up at least 6, 4, depending on what card he puts, and he has maximally 1 recapture back, and 4, 7, 8, 5 will have a capture at the end. Actually, I'll be up 7, 3 because I'll have already taken the card in 3. So I don't think 4 holds. 2 seems unlikely. Is the idea to go in 1? This seems really unlikely. 8, 7, 6, 1, and 1 is actually just safe. But I can do something like I can go in 2, and I take a 5, 5 lead, and I'm guaranteed a capture on the last turn. So I don't see it. 8, 6, 5, 3, and 8. Where's the save? I miscalculated. I thought I was winning against Piggy in the first game in the Spid Reunion semifinals, and he found a really specific tie that I just didn't see. I didn't calculate properly, and I sort of paired squares and did this kind of quick version of calculation and missed it. So I'm going to be a little more careful here. But for these lines not to work, there kind of needs to be a combo somewhere there. That wasn't the problem against Piggy, so maybe there doesn't. But I don't see where there could be a combo for him. So I'm going to play the move. If I was spending more time, I should also look at 2. Specifically 4, 7, 8, 5, and 2 could potentially be a really powerful move. But I don't see the tie here. I think 4, 7, 8, 5 is a really good sweeper on the top row. So I'm going to play it. Will be very pleased if I get off with a win this game, because I think Tezuka is absolutely an elite player, and also he has a plus record against me since the return, and I can't go around letting people have plus records against me. I have lost to 3 people in randoms, and every single one of them is a plus record against me, I think, in the return. I don't think I have wins against any of Tezuka, Piggy, or Deli, and it would be nice to get back on the board against one of them. But they're all fantastic players, so that would be very hard to do. I just don't see what the idea could be. I think I did a very good job of directing the game such that the 4, 7, 8, 5, and 1, 6, 8, 7 play. I think my move in 9 was good, if this is a win, which, again, I think it is, but I'm not calculating very well, so I'll just leave it and see what the move is. But basically anything in 5, I go 1, 6, 8, 7, and 4. And that will necessarily make the game 5, 5. And my 4, 7, 8, 5 is guaranteed a capture on the last turn. Guaranteed to make the score at least 5, 5. The 4, 7, 8, 5 is guaranteed a capture on the last turn. and if they go in 1, it is guaranteed at least 2 captures because it will capture 5 if I haven't already. And if I have, then it doesn't need to. And they can't combo that card. If they go in 4, then I go in 5 with 1, 6, 8, 7. And again, the 4, 7, 8, 5 is so powerful on that top row. So I really kind of think they need to block that top row up. But if he goes in 2, I still have 1, 6, 8, 7, and 5. And his hand just can't really meet that move. And so I think the only tries are in 1. But 1 has lots of issues, like 1, 6, 8, 7, and 2. As well as potentially 5, but I think 2 is the more specific square, because I will at that point have 4 safe cards, a 5th card in my hand, and a 6th capture guaranteed. So I think it's just a win. I'm also pleased to have won with a relatively abstract move in 9 rather than a specific move, because I tend to play specific moves when possible, and perhaps I would have if I was calculating better. But the specific moves I wasn't justifying, so I went for a more abstract move, and I think a good one. What's the bracket of this tournament? If indeed we do get a win here against the very strong Tezuka, and I think we did have a better hand. We had cards for 4 corners, we had an 8/6/6, which is very powerful. We would have Wavy or Starscream in round 2. Scythe, Lewin, or Delial in round 3. Say likely Delial, but could certainly be upset because random is random, and also Lewin has some really nice wins despite being very early on, and Scythe is always dangerous. In the other half of the bracket, Doomtrain and Blizzard are still playing. They've tied a few games. Akiyama beat Dalamar after a tie. And Metis just beat Addy. So probably there's a decent chance, especially given that we already know Metis and Akiyama are in the second round, there's a decent chance of a Metis-Akiyama rematch. And they've played in 2 chat tournament finals, each of them having won once. And that'll be a fun rematch if it happens. So I kind of hope it does, just because I like rivalries. Tezuka being gracious as he always is. So I think we're just, as I said, I think the kind of maximal confusion move once you've ruled out the others is to go in 1. But I just go in 2 here. We're gonna quadruple check because we're scared of throwing this away. There is no plus in 5. I have captures at the end. There is no plus in 5. There's definitely no plus in 5. Yeah, there's no plus in 5. That's enough. I do think his move in 7 was really clever. I don't think I'd have found that move, and I think it posed real problems, and it would be easy for me to get in trouble. I think the line 4, 7, 8, 5, and 4, 5, 5, 8, 8, 4, and 2 was very powerful for him. Alright, so we've reduced it to only 2 players I have a minus record against since the return, but they are Piggy and Deli, and that's going to be tough to recover. Tezuka says the move in 7 was intentionally oddball. Yeah, I think it was very creative, but like fundamentally kind of sound. and with a nice understanding of the position. I don't know. Respect. The move in 6, I think, was poor. I suspect there were lots of better options. But that's the nice thing. Yeah, says hit a blank on his second move a bit, replying to mine. Yeah, I very much understand this. When I can't find a clear path, I often sort of waver and do something. Revenge. Oh, I got the +2. Cool. Didn't see that. So I guess I'll post the game. Very happy with this win. Though I may not sound it, but I really think I had a better hand. There's lots of advantages I had here at first turn, but really one of the players that anytime I get a win against them, I'm gonna feel good about myself. So I guess we'll end the video there. I'll probably have more videos up with this chat tournament. Hopefully I get to face Deli in the semis, because gotta get revenge against everyone. And cheers.